Hello, welcome to Sovereign Privacy. And today we're going to be doing something different than the first video. I'm going to be doing a cozy gaming stream and a chat about privacy. So last week we talked about some of the top privacy technologies that anyone should be using or could be using, depending on how much you want to inconvenience yourself for privacy. Now, I hope to make the sell for why it's worth inconveniencing yourself, but you need to know what you're getting into. So the topic of this video will be, how inconvenient is it? Each of these privacy techs that I mentioned in my first video, what do you have to do? Is it worth it for you? And we're going to be playing Fallout New Vegas, a game that is 15 years old, that I haven't played since it came out. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm about 5 hours in, and I saved at a spot where I need to do a bit of walking, which gives me an opportunity to talk. So let's go. I'll walk slow. Well, not that slow. Okay, so in the last video, we went over some of the risks of all the data collection that's going on and what you can do to protect yourself. And so the programs that I mentioned that are really everyone needs to be using is the password manager, 2FA, and email aliases are great too. So that way, if your accounts get information stolen in a big company's data breach, then your other accounts will be protected. You have a strong, unique password for each account. You use 2FA to log in, and each account has a different login email. It's great. Actually, I was looking at the website. Oh man, you see that pop in? I'm playing on medium graphics because I'm not playing on a gaming laptop. But anyway, I was looking at that website, Have I Been Pwned? And all you do there is you put in your email address and you can see how many data breaches your email address. Okay, let's put that on hold for a minute. Well, that's not good. Oh, I'm dead. That was... See, that's what happens when I talk and I don't pay attention to where I'm going. Let's try that again. You know what? Let's just get on some more health. Stimpack. There we go. That'll help. Okay. So yeah, have I been pwned? And you put in your email address, find out how many data breaches your email, your password, other information has been lost in. And I put in some of my newer email addresses from the privacy providers like Protonmail. Haven't been lost so much. Maybe because I've been more careful. But I put in my old Gmail, my old Hotmail from like 2 decades ago. And oh man, they've been lost in like 20 different breaches from all these websites I used to use. So, I lost my passwords. And if I use the same password for everything, and I don't remember what I was doing back then I could have had multiple accounts broken into. Could have received phishing emails, whatever. I don't know what was going on back then. But I know better now. And if you're going to have a unique password, oh no, I'm not going over there. If you're going to have a unique password that is strong and hard to remember, impossible to remember, you need a good password manager. Keeping it offline is the way to go. And KeepassXC is a great app. Highly recommend it. Everyone should use it. Is it inconvenient? Well, yeah. I mean, if your password is ABCD123, that's super convenient. If your password is, I love the Miami Dolphins 123, so it's like a little bit better, I guess, but it takes 2 seconds to break into that. So Yeah, the password manager is non-negotiable. Unless you want your accounts to be broken into, it's totally worth it. 2FA, you can do that on your password manager. It adds a little bit of inconvenience. The whole login process becomes less convenient if you use these apps. You have to manage your email aliases. You have to log into your password manager every time you want to log into anything. It adds friction. What does that sound? Oh boy. He doesn't look so tough. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, it adds friction, which is obviously inconvenient, but very important for security. Not even privacy so much. This is security. So the next thing I talked about was the data brokers, the people search websites. And these are a huge problem in the States. So if you live in America, getting a service like My Data Removal, like I mentioned a couple others, Incogni and Delete Me, but I've never actually used these. And then I did a little bit more research and determined that My Data Removal is probably more respecting of your privacy. It's not owned by a big company.
We've got a situation with some great cons right now. The brass at McCarran has ordered me to lock down the ruins.
Okay.
One of my patrols was on its way back from Novak when it came under. They radioed for reinforcements, but instead of waiting for us, they chased the cons into the ruins where they were caught in a crossfire.
Don't really want to talk to you right now.
No deaths, but not all the squad got out.
Come on.
Cons have private Ackerman and...
These great cons might have something of mine.
Once the great cons have been killed or...
Okay. Try to negotiate.
Normally I'd turn you down since I have no idea who you are. But consider... All right. I'm going to give you a... If we hear shooting, we'll be coming in. But...
Yeah.
Good luck.
All right. Good looking guy. All right. So My Data Removal, if you're in America, yeah, you have to give them your personal information, but they take care of everything else for you. So in terms of inconvenience, it doesn't add very much. It's a pretty hands-off thing to do. Highly recommend it. Even though I haven't done it yet myself, don't do what I do. Well, maybe for some of the other things do what I do, but not on this. And then the email, the privacy emails. If you use Gmail, you already have an email account that everyone knows you by, then it is inconvenient to change your email address, but you can start slow. Just make the Protonmail account super easy. Make a strong password, get your password manager going, and what is this? Oh, come on. I'll go back this way. Okay. So these are some of the less inconvenient things you can do. Like you should definitely have a privacy email address, from a company that doesn't scan your inbox at all times like Google does. Then there's also Signal chat. Now I had an experience recently because not everyone is on Signal. You may be surprised. A lot of people are. But I ran into someone, wanted to exchange contact information, asked if they have Signal, and they didn't. So I'm not going to sell someone on Signal every time I talk to them. That's super inconvenient. Where am I going? Okay, local map, world map. Oh, okay. And then if I look at the quest here, intercept them. Okay. Well, I don't know, I guess they're over here. What? Can I, get through here? So Signal is very easy to use. So that's not inconvenient. Another one of these things that's pretty easy to do. Getting people on it is the problem. You can start by getting your family and friends on it. And then anytime you want to chat with someone, anytime you want to email, you need to email or text someone. Like email and text is terrible. Everyone should be using Signal. So just tell them about it. And if you want, you can try to convince them to get on it. Okay. What's going on here?
Beats going up against the Legion.
All right, I'll go talk to them. And then, like I said, these are the things that are pretty easy to get into, pretty convenient to get into, not much of a problem. It's not gonna make your life miserable to do these things. So I recommend at least checking them out, at least downloading the app. What are these guys? The next thing is a little less convenient to do. It's going to give you a little bit more trouble, a little bit more management, and that is how you back up your files, your photos, your documents, all this stuff.
What the hell? You're that courier Benny wasted back in Good Springs. You're supposed to be dead.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, about that. Don't have it. Benny
Oh.
stole it right before he stabbed us in the back. What's to negotiate? The NCR back.
Oh, my speech isn't good enough. I'm gonna drink some beer. Get some. Oh, I can get higher speech right now. Okay. Hold on, just gotta level up real quick. Let's get lockpick. Yeah, we can add some to guns. I gotta do this quick. All right, let's do that. All right, and now I can try to convince this guy real quick.
Getting real tired. I can't believe I'm doing this. But all right, here, a souvenir for you.
Okay.
He's a snake, that's why. He owed us the rest of the pay for the...
I don't want to talk to this guy right now. Let's get out of here. I'm gonna talk about
Yeah,
secure offline backups. Okay, so if you back everything up to Google Drive, that's super convenient, very bad for privacy. The alternative is to get a different service that is encrypted, but the best thing to do is to own your own files, to encrypt them yourself. All you have to do is use an application like VeraCrypt, and you can encrypt it, store it on multiple hard drives, and then you have to remember the passwords, and you have to back up the hard drives, and it's your responsibility to keep them safe. So how inconvenient is that? It's not that bad, but if you like the set it and forget it, Google Drive, iCloud, Microsoft OneDrive, all this stuff, then it's a big difference. It's obviously a lot less convenient than that.
I'm glad you were able to get my people freed, but there's a new problem. I just got orders to take out the Great.
Huh.
My hands are tied.
Yeah,
You're right.
I'm a nice guy in this game. Okay. So that's secure offline backups. Again, just like the passwords, you become responsible for your files, you become responsible for your passwords, and that's the only way to get, sovereign security and online privacy. You have to take some responsibility. This may not be for everyone, but it really depends what you want to do. How much privacy and security do you want? Where am I going now? Confront Benny at the Tops Casino. And where is that? Oh, sweet. It's a long walk. Well, I wouldn't mind going to Vault 34. See what's going on over there. Okay. If you don't know this game, it is a post-apocalyptic role-playing game. And, well, you can see that. Beautiful scenery. That's why I'm playing it right now while we chat. Very calm game when you're walking. When you're fighting, not so much. So that's full Secure offline backups, then full disk encryption. Ooh. Oh man. Yeah. There's always something. Oh, sweet. Thanks, robot.
Fancy meeting you here, friend. Fancy pants? No.
Okay. I don't like being followed. I like to be. I like my privacy, Victor. Come on.
No, it ain't my fault. Dorothy and the...
Okay, fine.
Yep. This is getting mighty embarrassing. Look me up when you get...
Okay. So the next thing that we need to talk about, cache. Great for privacy. Is it inconvenient? Well, you have to go to the ATM. You have to make sure you have enough cash. Beyond that, it's really easy. Cash and gift cards. I never use credit cards in store anymore because, you know, I don't want Visa and MasterCard tracking everything and what's going on down there. I don't want to go down there. And selling all my information. You know, your finances tells a lot about who you are, what you believe in, what you buy. I mean, what groceries you're buying, like who cares? But we're talking about everything you do with your money. I think it's worth it to use cash. It's not super inconvenient. It's not quite as convenient as tapping a piece of plastic and paying for everything that way. Probably going over there. But, you know, I've been doing this for a while, so maybe I forget how much easier it is. Like, I've been using cash only for over a year. And because I believe in it so much, it's very easy for me to you know, make these changes and to follow through on them and to keep doing them and to never use my credit card. And I do carry my credit cards, but I still don't use them. I use them online. That's about it. The next thing is the VPN. Now your internet provider tracks everything you do on the internet, and there are VPNs which encrypt your traffic on the internet and prevent the internet provider from monitoring what you're doing. And some of these VPNs are audited by third parties, so you know they're not tracking you and they're not logging your internet activity. And so I consider them to be pretty trustworthy. Such as Mullvad, that's a great VPN, or iVPN.
You've done a good turn for the NCR, and now we'd like to do one for you. There's an NCR.
Oh,
You're not
sweet.
alone out here. The NCR has your back.
NCR.
Stay safe and good.
Thanks a lot. Okay. Thanks for interrupting me. So the VPN, I mean, with Mullvad, you can buy it privately, so it's not even attached to your name at all. Now, that's not as convenient as buying it with a credit card, but it's up to you how much, you know, pure privacy you want, how much extreme privacy you want. There are different things you can do, different levels that you can go for. It's a trade-off between convenience and extreme privacy. And I tend toward more of the extreme privacy side when I can. And I'm learning. I'm reading a book on extreme privacy by Michael Bezant, I believe his name is. Worth looking up if you're interested in this topic. And as I'm reading it, I'm finding new things to do. And which I'll be talking about in future videos, because I'm like, I read about something that he recommends and I think, why am I not doing that? I'm so unprivate. So that's the VPN. Now here's where we move more to, oh, what's that? Yeah, I don't want to fight these guys. They're pretty big. We're just gonna run. This is where it gets less convenient, and it's still very important if you want security and privacy. But detected. Oh boy. Okay. I don't think they're coming after me though. Nope. And that is, of course, alternative operating systems. What do you use for your phone? Do you use Google or Apple? Those are the only two options, right? Well, in my last video, I mentioned GrapheneOS, which is a hardened, open source Android implementation. It's very secure, very private, gives you a ton of control over how you use your phone. No one collects your data. Google doesn't know who you are. There's no identity tied to your phone. Very private and very secure, because it turns out the Google Pixel phone has very high standards for security. So it's a very good option. Now, Graphene's very easy to install, and it's fairly convenient. Well, let me break it down for you. It's very easy to install and it's easy to use. It's very similar to using a Google Android phone. The downsides are that you can't use Google apps. So do you like Google Maps? You can't use the app anymore. You can only use it in the browser. It's not as good. Do you like Google Translate? Well, you can't use that app either. And then there are some banking apps that won't work, which is pretty inconvenient. Some people just won't tolerate that. Now, what would you rather tolerate? Inconvenience or Google collecting all your data and putting together a profile on you and knowing who you are and what you believe in? Well, that's up to you. But I think GrapheneOS is great. And I think the Google Pixel is a great phone. And I think it's just an excellent option. If you're at all interested in breaking out of the Google ecosystem, the Apple ecosystem, there's no de-Appled phone. So this is really the only option right now. And I think it's a really good one. Then there's also Linux. Now, I have a lot to say about Linux because, believe it or not, I use Linux. It works great for just about everything. As soon as I decided to start making videos and recording content, I found out how difficult everything can be sometimes, because most of these games, like Fallout New Vegas, they run on Windows, and then they're sort of emulated to run on Linux by Steam. But there can be problems, and then there's all these different drivers that every individual laptop has different stuff going on with the hardware and the software and the firmware and all this. And you have to make sure everything works. So, I wanted to stream Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, similar to this game, but fantasy. If you're watching this, you probably know what that is. And I can get it to run at 60 frames per second on this computer, but I couldn't get it recording at 60 frames per second. And so I had to give up on it. And I spent hours trying to troubleshoot. That's what you do on Linux. You spend a lot of time troubleshooting. Are you into that sort of thing? It's pretty inconvenient at times. But there are some Linux operating system distributions or distros, like Ubuntu or Mint or, I'll get back into that. Let's just kill this thug. Or get killed by? No, he's pretty bad. Dude, you stink, and now you're dust. Okay. Hopefully there's not too many of those guys. I'm talking about the different distros. Okay, so Ubuntu, Mint, Pop! OS. These are easy to use. They give you an experience that can be similar to Windows or Mac. But then sometimes you're trying to do something, you're trying to be productive in some way, or trying to use a program that you like, and you got to troubleshoot and chat with, Brave AI or Grok or ChatGPT for like 2 hours and get run around in circles. It's happened to me for many hours.
If it can be bought, it can be found at Mick and Ralph's. Hi there.
I don't want to talk to you right now. Okay. And then there's, about Graphene, there's some apps you can't use, like WhatsApp, for example. But you can actually run an emulator on your Linux computer. Do I have to go in here? And you can actually run these apps on like a de-Googled emulated phone on your computer, which is pretty cool. That's how I run WhatsApp. I use something called Waydroid on my Linux computer, and that works really well. Now, what do we have next? So that's Linux. You know, it can be easy to use. It almost appears easy to use when you first start using it, and then at times you have to troubleshoot, and sometimes things won't work. Windows and Apple, they hold your hand. They do everything for you. Everything is beautiful and free and cheap, and they collect all your data. They take screenshots of everything you do. You don't really know what's going on with what they're doing and what they're collecting because it's all closed source. So that's what I'll say about Linux. It takes some learning. It's not super convenient. You have to install it. You have to learn how to install it, which is pretty easy if you know how to use a computer, but there can be problems. Another thing about Linux that is pretty interesting, I don't know if you heard about this, but the company behind Steam, which is the huge gaming company, they're releasing all this new hardware, like a PC console, a new VR headset, and they run on Linux. So you get like total control over your consoles, which is great. It's so refreshing compared to, you know, the ecosystems of, you know, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Google, all these big tech companies where they own the hardware and they don't give you the ability to do what you want with your computer and your consoles or whatever you're using. And Linux is just fantastic if you like to have control over your computer. So that's exciting. Those new things are coming out early next year. Something to look at if you're into this sort of thing. I actually like VR. I'm one of the rare people that enjoy playing VR games and using VR. And I refuse to use Meta, Facebook, WhatsApp, any of that stuff. But I did make an exception to use the Meta Quest, their VR headset, and it feels dirty. I don't like it. I'm excited to give that up. Now, the last thing I talked about in my first video was giving up social media. I mentioned WhatsApp, Facebook, LinkedIn. And I'm not going to kill this guy yet because let's finish up what I actually have to talk about here, and then I'll kill him and then we'll end the video. It's probably a good time to end now that I got to this place here that I haven't even been paying attention to where I am. Okay, giving up social media is actually pretty inconvenient. Everyone uses Facebook to connect with each other, to buy and sell things, to join groups. They use LinkedIn to connect professionally. If you want privacy, you have to consider giving those up completely or making fake accounts, fake names on Facebook. You can do that. I actually made a Facebook with a fake name. And when I tried to buy things on Marketplace, I had to age the account for like a month. Which means I opened the account, then I tried messaging people to buy things from them, and they weren't receiving my messages until the account was old enough that my messages started going through. And now I've bought a bunch of things on there, and I see the value of that. So I use Facebook on its own browser. I don't do anything else on that browser, so I can keep everything separate. I don't want Facebook tracking everything I'm doing on the computer, just like I don't want Google tracking everything I do on my phone, my location, my search history, my browser activity, all this stuff. I don't want these companies to know what I'm doing. And you have to decide how you feel about that. But these technologies I've mentioned, these programs, applications I've mentioned in this video and in my previous video, you have to decide how much convenience you're willing to give up in order to get the privacy, in order to have more freedom. It's not like you're trying to hide anything. It's freedom. You bought the computer, you bought the phone. You should get to decide which of your data you're giving up to these companies. What you're allowed to do on your computer. With Linux, with Graphene, you're able to do what you want. And then you need to keep these criminals, these hackers, out of your accounts. Prevent anyone from reading your emails, reading your messages, looking at your photos that you upload to the cloud. looking at your family members, you know, taking screenshots of your smart TV. These companies are trying to get as much control as possible. But there are things that you can do. And I would encourage you to look into this more. You know, to read that book I mentioned, Extreme Privacy by Michael Bazant. You don't have to go through the whole thing, it's very long. So it may not be something that just anyone is going to read cover to cover. I will, but you know, I'm making this video, so obviously I'm very into it. So let's kill this thug. Here at Sovereign Privacy, we don't like thugs. Shot him in the ass. Let's go. Hey, get back here. Ah, here we go. You're done. Okay, reload the gun. That guy was not respecting my privacy. Thanks, man. That was fun. I'll see you later. Okay, and on that note, let's close up this video. Main menu. Okay. So if you're interested in this sort of content, increasing your privacy, learning how to do it, perhaps some tutorials, some recommendations, question and answer, whatever we get into here, please subscribe, like the video. Thank you so much for watching. And I don't yet know what my next video is going to be, but I plan to do some tutorials. I really like the game streams. The gaming and chatting is just such a good vibe. So, on that note, have a good day, have a good night, and I'll see you next time.